When it's time to shade that, I think I'm going to start with my 50 today. So I'm going to say the light is coming from these back windows and coming out into the room this direction, which means that here I'm going to turn to the dark. It's quite narrow, so I'm going to thicken it up. This is going to be shadow core over here. And it's going to cast a shadow up here to the wall. Then I'm going to connect this to that. And all of this is going to be shadow. Notice I'm taking my shadow straight up and down from here. Maybe I want to turn this and chip it in. Maybe I want to get a piece of mylar underneath it. This is going to turn to shadow here. So I think all of this is going to be in shadow. I think this edge of the chair is going to be in shadow. I think this edge of the ottoman underneath that for sure. This front edge of this, I'm going to say the light's hitting this like a cylinder. And I'm going to say there's going to be a shadow core right here. Then it's going to cast a shadow on the floor. Just stroke that out a little bit in this direction. I'm going to say the edge of this frame and this edge of the frame are facing away from the light. I want to go into these curtains and I want to stroke a little bit up the edges of them on the outside edge. And I want them to get a little lighter as they go in towards the window, as if there's some light kind of coming through. I might go down here and cast a little shadow on the wall below it. This fireplace I want to darken up. So here I made a mistake. I don't want this line in there anymore. So I'm just going to draw right over top of it. Darken up that whole fireplace. I'm going to put a shadow underneath the mantelpiece. I probably want to shade the front side of this guy and the front end of this table right here. I can put a little line right here. And this time I'm not going to make it all the way across, but I just put down my pen and I pull it towards the center, but not all the way in. That's going to put a little bit of a shadow right there at the front of the rug. That's starting to look fairly nice. In these plants, I'm thinking of a 45-degree angle coming this direction towards a sphere. So if this was a sphere and this were shaded over this direction, then I take these plants and I put some shadow over here on the left side of whatever I think is going on there, right? This I'm just going to put a little bit in here. This one I'm going to put on the right side because the light's coming from the middle of the room. So I'm just going to do this up here. This I'm going to treat like a sphere. All right, I'm going to take my 30% now. So now I'm taking my 30 and I'm blending into a reflected light. It could be that you want to do your 30 first and you want to just block all this out. But now I'm taking and I'm filling in all these shadows so that everything on the shadow side is filled in. Then I want to make a transition between my 30 and my 50 right here. I go into my curtains, I put a little streak of 30 like here and here, just so they're kind of flowing and moving. I kind of like to do that in a window as well, maybe not tracing those, but I'm going to do it here on the TV screen. I'm going to put this all back into 30 because this is all dropping back into shadow back here. Make sure there's nothing in the shadow that comes up to paper white, right? So I'm basically just taking this and knocking everything down. Now the front of the chimney, I think I'm going to do in 30% because I want it to show a shadow coming from this back window here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to block all this in at a 30 in the front of the chimney. And what that's going to do is it's going to make this chair pop out in front, and it's going to make this ottoman really pop out. This wall is going to be a little lighter there. I could come here and put a 30 down here and here if I wanted. Sort of make those come forward. Probably be better to go here. Let's try this. Let's put some 30 on the back wall and let the light hit these. That'll pop my chair out. Oh yeah, I like that. Part of it is me just feeling my way through. I'm going to put some 30 down here under the plant so that it kind of feels like that these plants are kind of have something to sit into. Now I want to go up to my 70s, so I want to get something that's fairly dark in there. I'm going to go underneath the chair and under the ottoman for sure. I'm probably going to take the fireplace and knock it back. Maybe I want to take this back part of my fireplace and just totally go 70 back in there. $70 I know is cast shadow, right? So here on the floor, I probably want to go from 70 to 50, and here on the wall, I want to go from 70 to 50. Out here from the plan, I'm casting a little darker shadow there. I think I'm going to put some 70 up in here and really like get those guys settled in. Use the point and do a little bit of something here in my plants, just on the left side. It's going to give them some contrast. I try not to do too much detail in a plant because that's not my focal point. Now I'm going to take my 90 and I'm going to underline the chair and the ottoman. I'm going to outline the back of the fireplace. Maybe go back to my 70 if I need to blend that in a bit. I kind of want a 70, I think, underneath this mantelpiece. I really want to pop that out. You decide after that how you want to do it. If you want to have something facing away from the light, then you darken it up. And if you want it to catch the light, then you let it go light. Because I did everything in the end 30, I think I'm going to make the end of my mantelpiece drop down as well. It's kind of screaming out too much, so I'm bringing that down to 30. I'm going to blend under here a little bit with 30, kind of pull some light away from that area. You have examples of these shaded in. You can do with a 50%, some of these like concrete dots. Don't do too much of that, just a little bit. This isn't concrete, this is carpet, but maybe it wants to have a little bit of a 30 or a 50 or some kind of a something, just to give your drawing a little bit of texture. And I want to sink this all back in under that table. For sure. The top of the table, I'm going to let it be 100% white. So maybe I want to go 50 up above to the window so the top of that table pops up. I didn't even finish drawing it in. It looks like I've got some inking to do. If I come back into here and get my legs drawn in and my top of my table drawn in. This, I think I'll turn the top, so the top and the front of this are different, the top and the front of that chair are different. I think I'm going to take a 30%. I could just do it with my 10, but I don't think you're even going to see it. If I take a 10% and I say the top of this is going to be 10 and the front of this is going to be white, then I'm going to take the top of this seat and go 10 and the top of this edge of the chair right here and do a little 10. So the front is white. Here I've got the top of that white too, so, but I'm going to leave it because I want it to stand up. Take my 30. I'm going to hit the front edge of that step. I'm going to let the whole step drop back, and I'm going to do that edge of the step in 50 because it didn't go dark enough for me. You decide. This, maybe I want to bring this all the way out so it's casting a little bit into the room. I'm just pulling it off the paper as I go towards the, or away from the light. But every mark that I make with my marker agrees with the vanishing point. It's still, when I'm doing light and shadow, heading towards the vanishing point, heading straight up and down, or heading horizontal. This mirror, if you take a 30% into a mirror and you streak up and down here and there, you also can take a 10% and a 50% and do a little bit of streaking in a mirror. Best if it goes from the edge into the mirror this way and into the mirror that way, and you'll get the look of a mirror in there. I usually have to go in and blend that a little bit here and there to make it do what I want it to.